Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Family, let's get right to it. Hopefully by now you've seen my previous coverage about a couple of the dirty little secret reasons that the United States decided to insert itself in peace negotiations between Rwanda and the DRC Congo. Yes? How many of you all know? If you saw that, you would know that I revealed to you a couple of dirty little secrets that, believe it or not, involves Qatar and how the United States is trying to do some little sneaky stuff. So be sure to check that one out, okay? Just go through the videos and look for my coverage on that. Yes? So see this as really a series or part two to that. Now, I've been covering the Sahelian region, the Sahel region, specifically even elements related to Rwanda some time back. You can Google it and pull it up. And so I was reminded of something recently that I discussed some time back. Now, how many of you all remember that I discussed last year the fact that Mali's army chief, as well as some of the other folks in the Sahel bloc, but specifically Mali's army chief was in Rwanda to strengthen defense cooperation. Let me blink right quick on that. Y'all see the blinkage? Do you see the blinkage? Some of y'all haven't been keeping up like I have. I know everybody named Mama is talking about it now, but your sister with the curly braids, I've been on it for a minute. Watch this. Just as a reminder, to give you a little context, it says Mali's army chief ended a 3-day visit to Rwanda Thursday as the country seeks to strengthen bilateral defense cooperation. Malayan General Umar Diarra concluded Thursday a 3-day visit to Rwanda. The chief of the general staff of the Malayan Armed Forces was received by his counterpart, General John Bosco Kazura, at the Rwandan Defense Forces headquarters in Kigali. If bilateral defense collaboration was the agenda, the discussion between the two men tackled different aspects of, quote, cooperation in human resource development, military training, and welfare. A statement by the Rwandan Ministry of Defense read. During the official visit, General Omar Diarra met with President Paul Kagame and the Minister of Defense. Mali's army chief said that the purpose of the trip was to, quote, exchange experience and expertise on capacity building, quote, of both the Rwandan Defense Force and Malayan Armed Forces, among other things. It goes on to talk about how indeed the Sahelian nation fights a jihadist insurgency threatening to destabilize the entire country. Now, a couple of things I need you to know. I've been discussing the fact that some of the government officials in some of the Sahelian countries went before the UN. They said that prior to them going to that particular summit, I think it was almost a couple of years ago when I covered that one, he revealed during that summit where the nations gathered during the UN General Assembly. Normally, I think it's like the fall here in the United States. Watch this. He revealed the fact that they had proof that some of the Western countries, including France, was actually sponsoring terrorism. And they had proof of it. But what they revealed when they showed up to give their address at the General Assembly, they said they had already provided that information in the complaint to the Security Council, of which France is a part, busting them for terrorism. Now, family, I can be nerdy at times with stuff that I don't even know. I'm interested in different things. So I sat there, and a couple of years ago, I was almost obsessed with watching so many back-to-back-to-back speeches from different world leaders, particularly those from the continent and those from the Caribbean area. And if I didn't watch that, I wouldn't even have an idea of some of the stuff that was going on, because mainstream media certainly isn't going to tell us that these very countries that you call poor and broke and full of warfare, they're sitting there saying that they have evidence and provided evidence prior to the summit that the West, like France, is sponsoring terrorism, which means that they're actually creating it. They're paying folks and they're setting up the infrastructure for it. I've done many broadcasts, several broadcasts, I should say, on that. Keep that in mind. So when I discussed this sometime last year, that this was going on, I know it was a long time ago, I'll say that, because some stuff I was discussing interrelated to some stuff before that, but I don't want to get the dates mixed up. Just know a long time ago I discussed this. I knew it was going to be something because y'all can say what you want to about Rwanda. Well, Rwanda's military ain't nothing to play with. Now, no, they're not the biggest country. They're not the richest, but they're not the brokest. And they're getting organized. Somebody said, prove it, Vicki. Watch this. Look at this report. As quiet as it kept. It says, this piece that I'm reading from is from last year, May 2024. It says, Rwanda is transforming and growing. It says here, what costs NPR. It says here, this is a piece from Kagame, Rwanda. It says, staring at the skyline in this city, you can't miss the tiered dome of the Kagame Convention Center. At night, it's blue. It talks about its beauty, it's yellow, it's green lights and all that stuff and the surrounding hilltops. It says, completed in 26, the most expensive building on the African continent and a project that's special to Rwandan President Paul Kagame, right? It says, staff inside the complex said he comes by every day to check on the progress. It says, while that's almost certainly an exaggeration, the building is one of the most visible signs of the ways in which the country has changed since Kagame came to power in the years after the brutal genocide shocked the world. It says, yet that transformation has been uneven. Of course, it goes on talking about happening under the tight rule of president who faces little opposition. It says, and it prompts many questions, including what type of leader is needed to help a country grow and heal from such a devastating past. It says, in the past 30 years since the genocide in which nearly 1 million people, most of them ethnic Tutsis, were killed, as many as 250,000 Rwandan civilians took part in the killings. Neighbors brutally attacked their neighbors. You all probably are familiar with a lot of that, right? As world leaders descended on Kagame to mark the moment, Kagame said Rwanda has had a long journey, but has made tremendous progress of our country. And it's plain to see, and it's the result of choices we made together to resurrect our nation. Just a little bit more, bear with me, family. It says, today the country projects an image of post-genocide harmony. Ethnicities are no longer on ID cards and are not publicly discussed. I'm skipping past here. Rwanda has made other measurable gains. Life expectancy is up, as is its tourism, which these days make up 11% of the country's GDP. Tourists come to see the famous gorillas, and high-end packages to trek with them can cost thousands of dollars a day. It goes on to talk about more tourism, but it says, then there are luxury hotels, tech startups, new stadium, and a host of offshoot of the NBA, the Basketball Africa League. It talks about other ways in which the country is growing and bustling. I was looking at another report, believe it or not, from World Bank, and it's talking about the fact that their economy is up. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm trying to tell y'all, now everybody is tripping because look at this headline from Yahoo News just from a couple days ago. The headline says, Trump considers sending migrants to Rwanda. The U.S. could rather start deporting illegal migrants to Rwanda in a deal replicating the Tory scheme abandoned by Labor. How many of y'all remember that? Sometime back, and I think I discussed this too, Rwanda was in dealings with the Brits to take in some of their migrants, and they were supposed to be paid for it. The deal started a little bit, then they backtrack and a bunch of other stuff. You can catch up on that later, but I'm just giving you a little bit of context of what they're talking about when they said the Tory scheme, abandoned by the Labour Party. The Central African state has already received U.S. deportees. Did y'all know that? Including at least one Iraqi, according to a diplomatic cable reported in the U.S. The cable suggests Rwanda might join the list of, quote, third countries where Donald Trump's administration sends deportees. The list includes El Salvador, which has taken in hundreds. It says here that Sir Keir Starmer scraped the Tory government's Rwandan deportation scheme as soon as he won the election last July without a single enforced removal having taken place. Now, let me tell y'all something. Rwanda already takes in a whole lot of migrants from multiple countries. Do y'all know that? Now, I'm not pretending to know all of the goings on the ground domestically there, but I'm not going to sit here and parrot all the talking points that we know that the world lies all the time through media. And they're not telling us how Rwanda is growing, how it's one of the safest countries, and how a lot of the people there love it, and how some of the very people that you all say that they are responsible for sponsoring and attacking with the M23s, some of those very folks, my understanding, if I remember correctly, are actually taken into the country. I just think we need to slow down a little bit and try to understand some of the moving parts, and to the degree we don't understand, which a lot of us don't. I don't understand all the goings on, but I'm just not going to jump out there and just defend America and the West on everything that they do when we know you lie and steal and destroy. We can't just do that. We know you a liar. We know you a liar. And you like to make everybody else the boogeyman. Let me tell y'all something. I believe there's multiple things going on. And I believe that the deal that the United States might be quietly striking with Rwanda to take in immigrants, I think that they know how to treat people. And there might be some other behind the scenes stuff that they might be working out with other countries. And there might be some economics that Rwanda is able to utilize. They might may be able to even utilize those human beings' intelligence in that country in some way, form, or fashion. But what's it to us? How many of you all know it's okay to take in migrants if you're going to be good to them and if you feel like you know what to do with other human beings? What we know about America and the West, they don't know how to do that a lot of times in a civilized way. So they're projecting when they think that somebody is wrong to have an open arms to take someone in. Now, there may be some nefarious motives. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm not going to jump off into this other narrative either without knowing more about what's going on the ground. I know I said a lot here, but this is one of the things I want you to keep in mind. Rwanda ain't nothing to play with. And I believe the United States of America knows that. And I believe that the United States of America has something to do with the drama that was going on between the Rwanda and the DRC Congo. I believe that Rwanda knows that, and they're intelligent about how they move with the United States. And because we cannot ultimately defeat them, we had to turn around and house their peace talks that Qatar was actually responsible for negotiating. So the United States wanted to be a part of it by making it look like we were housing it, and so that the United States can stay in the loop as well as take some of their resources. I believe that we are fearful that Rwanda and President Kagame gonna share some of their secrets with Mali, with Burkina Faso and others, because they have been effective in their military. One thing that we can all probably agree on is that the continent of Africa don't spend billions and trillions of dollars on warfare like these Western white countries do, because all they know is bloodshed. That's what's normal for them. They know the way they're going to control the world is by putting a weapon in your face and being the world's police and bully. We're having, unfortunately, to learn the hard way on how we have to deal with these folks. And one thing that you can't play with is not having a good military. And I think that they know that President Kagame is a force to be reckoned with in that department. And they are probably afraid that he's going to teach others how to do the same. And if the Africans get on board with a strong defense, baby, the West is doomed. For real, for real. Because while we're sitting here trying to just be diplomatic all the time and talk, unfortunately, when you're dealing with someone that doesn't use their head and that's unspiritual, all they know is bloodshed. So sometimes you got to make sure that those things are in place in order to defend your people. Talk black to me, somebody. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. My name is Vicki Dillard. Speaking of the powers that shouldn't be, I'm going to be talking about the neo-Illuminati again. I'm going to be expressing warfare that Netanyahu and some of his people are waging in ways that they're not telling you. Yes, they're slaughtering folks, and that's diabolical, it's demonic, and I call that out. But can I tell you something else? They're doing some other type of magic that you don't know about, and some of you actually wouldn't believe. You better attend my upcoming free webinar. Go to my website at vickiplanet.com to learn more. That's vickiplanet.com, VICKIplanet.com. Be sure to comment below.